What's up, guys? John Claymore here, and we got to talk about this purge of content. And of course, by purge of content, I'm talking about a certain, let's just say, community that we are not allowed to touch. And obviously, one of the most effective fighters in the fight against that said ideology has just had his content demonetized. Not only has he had his content demonetized, but there's also other, let's just say, other channels, other content creators have been affected by this as well. Sara Gonzales had a couple of videos removed. Also, not just Sara Gonzales, but Jeremy the Quartering, he also had a live stream removed. Tim Pool had some videos removed. And, of course, Mr. Reagan, he also had some content removed as well. So you got to wonder if YouTube is going to start removing other people's content here real soon. So, obviously, every single one of us are at risk. That right there is the main reason why I'm including the update section at the end of the video. So, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, this video right here will be released on Monday night. It will be the third video that will be released of the day. I told you guys I was going to try to go back to doing 2 videos a day, but on Monday, there's going to be 3. There's also 2 other stories that need to be brought up, and also to go on top of this, where this video right here is going to be put in the description box, as well as this video here. Yes, the wokes are actually going crazy over ships. So, yeah, I'm going to provide that for you guys, and I'm probably going to do a bit of a response to that one on Tuesday, as well as my also my part 2 on Can They Take Our Guns series. That will also be on Tuesday. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. So, Matt Walsh has had his content demonetized here on YouTube over criticisms of Dylan Mulvaney. I think just about everybody on this platform has criticized Dylan Mulvaney, but then again, at the same time, it makes me kind of think about what Alex Jones said the other day on Steven Crowder, where he said he felt that basically Dylan Mulvaney was a troll. I have kind of let you guys know how I feel about that. I don't think it's a troll, especially given the amount of things that have came out, especially given the fact that Dylan has let's just say he's been featured more times than what he's been featured now. He was on The Price is Right a few years ago. Yeah, this guy here has actually been around a lot longer, and his grift actually started a long time ago. I also discussed that in the previous video where Tim Pool had said that they did some actual research on him, and they found that he was getting no views, no followers, no nothing until he fully went trans. Don't worry, we'll be discussing that more at the end of the video. But the thing is this right here. This right here just goes to prove that, yeah, the left, they are losing the debate on this. Obviously, someone like Matt Walsh's efforts have been working. Obviously, people calling this out has been working. You see, this is one of the main reasons why I keep telling people that right now at this moment in time, debate is kind of dead in this country. The far left does not want to hear it. They do not want to listen. They constantly interrupt you during debates. I don't think I need to bring up any examples, but I'm pretty sure if you've been on the platform long enough and you've seen content creators like, say, Walsh and Kyle Kulinski and David Pakman, then you will see that their smugness constantly finds a way to erode any type of conversation with anybody from the other side. And those erosions and breakdowns always lead to these debates turning into mind-numbing fights, which, by the way, are completely about nothing but optics. I kind of went through this back in 2011, 2012 time frame, when I was going to school to be a paralegal. Politics got brought up a lot because state and local law was always discussed. Not to mention national law was also discussed, and of course it was an election year. It was not designed to be a political philosophy type of class or anything like that, but obviously people are going to discuss the issue, and we kind of saw that between the right and the left, that the left had already started this whole scream, holler, feelings over facts, crap like that. They had already started that a long time ago, and obviously it's taken full form. However, when you get someone like Matt Walsh, and trust me, and believe me when I say this, there are some things that I do, in fact, disagree with him on. For example, what is a woman? I really wish they had included the biblical definition of what a woman is right there at the very end. Jason Whitlock made a very good point to point that out. It seems very, very minor, but there's also a lot of other minor things. However, on this issue right here, me and Matt Walsh are 100% in lockstep, and I actually came out in defense of him over this topic of Mulvaney, which, by the way, I'm still going to defend him on. And I also know that I'm probably going to get hit as well, which is probably going to really screw up my algorithmic timing, but that's okay. It would not be the first time that I've been through. Really quick, guys, before we go any further, and I've forgotten to mention this, but part of the reason why I'm putting that actual Justice Warrior video in the description box is because at this moment in time, we still have not gotten the manifesto of the Nashville shooter. It's been held up for a very long time. It makes me kind of wonder exactly what's in that manifesto. Number 2, there's also an extremely famous YouTube influencer who just had somebody on his crew come out as trans. That also tells me that right there might be another reason why they may be demonetizing Matt Walsh, because, well, we just can't have you criticizing certain people. And of course, they're obviously going to come after me as well. I didn't touch that issue with the YouTube influencer for a different reason, which I will go ahead and explain to you guys at the very end when it comes to the updates. Just make sure you guys are hitting that like button, so that way the algorithm will, of course, get the content out there, and people will, of course, get red-pilled in the process and maybe learn some things. But the thing is this right here. This right here tells me that the debate is obviously being won by the right. Now, you probably don't think that's the case, especially given the fact that the internet is pretty much owned by the left. But let me go ahead and kind of take you guys back a little bit, okay? The year is 2010. The Tea Party shows up. A lot of people who are not politically engaged, or they were not as politically engaged, they showed up to vote in a bunch of Tea Party Republicans. These right here were people who, quite frankly, cared more about budgets. They cared more about how their tax dollars were being spent. They weren't as politically active. They had gotten completely politically active at that time. They didn't really care much about the social issues. Of course, the media branded them as practically just far right, when that right there was not even the case. They didn't show up in 2012 because Mitt Romney, of course, did not represent them. But in the 2014 midterms, the overall Republican vote went up. They had a very, very good night. Republicans did not win the popular vote in 2016, but they did capture the presidency. Of course, if you take California and New York out of the equation, which, by the way, is the main reason why Democrats still win the popular vote, yes, if you take that out of the equation, then Republicans obviously won the night. In 2018, they added to the Senate, but of course they lost Congress. However, when you look at the overall vote share, you see the Republican total getting higher and higher and higher every election cycle. Even in 2022, Republicans did, in fact, actually win the nationwide popular vote. Something that nobody talks about, by the way. It was not exactly the night Republicans wanted, but I'm just using this as an example to kind of explain to you how effective guys like Matt Walsh have been. Like I said before, I've got my own little disagreements with him, but the man is obviously very effective when it comes to combating this agenda. So what they did was this right here. They chose to demonetize his content. Now, when they demonetize your content, what that basically means is that you do not get paid. Now, me, I'm not monetized yet. I don't get paid for these videos, not yet, even though I am close to monetization. And of course, you have to have a certain amount of views to actually get the money or get paid. Now, the thing about Matt Walsh is that they chose to hit him in his pocket. They chose to hit his wallet, so they chose to do, which is also very interesting because if you guys recall the Steven Crowder Daily Wire beef, Steven Crowder's main beef with the contract he was being offered was the fact that Daily Wire would basically do they would basically do big tech's bidding for you if you got in trouble. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. But the thing is this right here. You know that you're winning the debate when the other side tries to change the rules. Okay, you know that you're winning the debate when they are actually actively going out of their way to change rules. Tell you that you cannot actually, how do I say, you can't speak about this issue. Now, really quick, about demonetization, I do want to mention one more thing. I have received community guideline strikes on this platform. I have received a few. Okay, if you get 3, you're booted off the platform for good. You're probably thinking to yourself, okay, why the hell have you not created a Rumble account? I do have a Rumble account. We'll be talking about Rumble a little bit more in the very, very last section of this video. But the thing is this right here. It's very hard to recover from a community guideline strike. As a matter of fact, before I went to New York State to see a friend of mine back in September, YouTube gave me a community guideline strike over a video that I did about OnlyFans, which I thought was extremely strange because I didn't say anything offensive in that video. And then they gave me another strike 3 days later while I was in upstate. So I had 2 strikes on my channel. So I came back home when I got done with the trip, and I actually appealed both strikes. And somehow or another, YouTube actually undid the strikes, and I was allowed to post more. And I even considered giving up the platform altogether then, or maybe starting over with a completely brand new different channel, brand new content. But don't worry, we'll talk about that more here soon because this channel's not going anywhere with content either. But the thing is this right here, it's extremely hard to recover from that strike. It messes with your money. Well, Walsh is saying he's not going to capitulate. He's not going to cave in. And, of course, he's also mentioned at the same time that he would be going to Rumble. Now, if he goes to Rumble, he's going to stay here on YouTube at the same time. Basically, what I'm trying to say is where he's practically going to do exactly what Steven Crowder does. Steven Crowder gets his revenue in from other platforms not named YouTube. He still posts to YouTube. That's what Crowder is going to be doing. Tim Pool will probably remain on the platform as well as a lot of other content creators. And of course, they'll end up going to Rumble where they'll actually get their revenue. This is one of the main reasons why I think it is that YouTube itself may be in trouble, especially when it comes to commentary. But then again, though, as I explained in the Ackman video, or the video where the Ackman brought up the fact that he said a certain word that rhymed with another word, and he basically got shut down. This also kind of coincides with what Mudahar was saying about the Internet Archive being scrubbed. This is how they plan on doing it in the future. So obviously we're going to have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. Which brings me to my next little section of this video. I know I did not map this video out the way that I normally try to map it out as far as explanation. Why is it that we do fight? Why is it that we fight this fight? Well, because it's about our kids. It's about our
Bud Light commercial at the age of 25, and people went nuts on me because some of my fans were 16 and 17. I would be out of my mind pissed off at them for that.
But that's
like,
not
leave me.
it.
I'm over 21, man. I'm selling beer.
Right.
But that's not it. Dylan Mulvaney is on TikTok with 11 million followers. And outside of Dylan Mulvaney, the average TikTok user is 20 years old. That means if you were to take every single person using the platform, which includes adults, it still skews young. And Dylan Mulvaney's audience, at the very least, is underage and should not be drinking. But let's be real. Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, they all know kids who are 18 are drinking. And my personal opinion is that drinking age should be 18 and people shouldn't drink either way. But if you're an adult, you should be allowed to. The point is, Dylan Mulvaney's audience isn't 20 years old. That's the TikTok average. Dylan Mulvaney's audience skews much lower than that and is probably closer to 15.
Now, gang, I don't have any kids or none that I know of, but obviously, you know, I've got kids around me, meaning that I've got relatives with kids. I've obviously got nieces, nephews. I don't give out names or show faces or anything like that for security purposes. I don't want somebody to possibly attack them. But there's two very, very key important things that we have to mention here. And I forgot to mention this right here earlier on. But Mulvaney's audience, target audience, as Tim Pool brought up, was a much, much younger audience. And I mean an extremely young audience. Very young audience. It's one of the reasons why it is that people want TikTok banned. Now, I understand banning TikTok because it is obviously ran by CCP. Let's go ahead and say it out loud. It is what it is. I mean, if this right here is going to be the last video where I can talk about something like this right here, then I might as well go ahead and say it. Even if it wasn't, I'm just going to go ahead and point it out. That's obviously what the hell the problem here is. However, the deal is this right here, though. As I mentioned in my video on the Restrict Act, it's not just TikTok that you're banning. You're basically going into everybody's social media, and you're basically creating an Internet Patriot Act. We don't need that. Why don't you just ban TikTok outright? Which brings me to another example of bureaucratic nonsense. Now, guys, make sure you pay very, very close attention to this. Do you guys remember a while back? I did a video on it. Of course, YouTube found a way to kind of stymie it. It was on the PACT Act, and you had all these left-wingers, and they were even teamed up with the dude from Grunt Style. Don't even get me started on him. They were teamed up with these people, and they were out there complaining, and they were raising hell, saying Republicans were evil because they didn't want to pass the PACT Act. Guys, I'm a veteran, so obviously you would think, especially 2 tours of that particular war, of which would actually be the guidelines that would fall under the PACT Act, I would obviously be affected. I'm not going to get too much into the details of the PACT Act. That's not what this video is for, but the thing is this right here. They were saying that Republicans were evil for not wanting to pass it. Well, anybody who was paying attention knew that that bill, the PACT Act, had a bunch of other nonsense piled on top of it. So basically what they did was they tried to make Republicans look like they were heartless for not supporting the PACT Act. In reality, what Republicans were wanting to do was they wanted the PACT Act and PACT Act alone to go through. Not all the other bullcrap that they tacked on. Not all the additional spending. Not all the crap that goes to social programs. Not all the pork that Democrats commonly want. That's kind of sort of how they get you. But, and I said this before, this right here to me is just more proof that we are winning the culture war. So keep it up. Keep it going. There are all kinds of avenues to move around with this. Now, guys, 3 little words. I learned this when I was in the Marines. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Conservatives are much, much better at doing that. Really, the only thing the left is really good at doing is obstructing. But after a while, the other side figures out on how to improvise, adapt, overcome, and outmaneuver the obstruction. That's basically the only thing that the left does. They're just extremely good at obstructing. How do they do this? Well, they set up brand new rules. They put more obstacles in your place. They interrupt you constantly. Conservatives are much, much better at maneuvering because come to find out the conservatives, they don't just have the book smarts, but they also have common sense. You see, common sense is a virtue that, quite frankly, nobody has nowadays except for basic conservatives and moderates. So keep up the good work. It tells me that we are, in fact, winning this culture war that we are in today. And let me go ahead and end this video on some updates. I know I promised you guys some updates at the very beginning, so let's just go ahead and do this. So here's the deal. The Rumble page is going to become active again on May the 1st, okay? All these takes that, quite frankly, could get us demonetized, they're going to be going to Rumble for now, okay? They're going to be going there at least until the temperature in the room cools down, so they'll be going there. Also, one more thing, too. You guys can still find me on Facebook. Here's the Facebook page. You guys have already seen the Rumble page. And one more last thing to go on top of this. We're going to be using the community tab more often. Now, guys, in the other 2 videos tomorrow, there will be additional updates on the actual content transition as far as like the projects is concerned. But I'm pretty sure you guys may have already seen that. If you did not see the video that I released on Can They Take Our Guns, don't worry. That video right there will be in the description box to go along with all the other stuff that I'm going to be posting like normal. The thing about that particular ordeal is that when I made that video for short time of prepping, there was a few things that I quite frankly did not think about when I made it. But still, though, that being said, though, it's a bit of an ongoing series I hope to have done over the course of the next 2 weeks. The next installment will be out on Tuesday night, so make sure you guys keep your eyes open for that one there. And with that right there being said, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Only about 30% of you guys that watch the content are even subscribed, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Also, one more thing, we're close to 1,000 subscribers. We're right there at the cusp, so let's go ahead and get there. Let's go ahead and get those numbers now. Cut the notifications bell on, and I do want to get you guys' opinions on this, so make sure you guys leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.